Right, I Faith Formation families. It's been a while since I've made a video, but I'm making one today because I just want to address a few things, some concerns that people have had, and to talk about the QR codes below and what those are all about, and to talk about upcoming surveys that you might be getting coming home. So, first and foremost, I just want to mention that I talked about all this in the beginning of the year in the parent meetings and the parent videos. But I think if you're like me, space was limited in the fall to receive any new information that wasn't immediately useful. So I think people just forgot this piece. And now that sacramental prep season is here, you're all finding out, oh my gosh, Miss Abdullah's email's not working. Why isn't it working? Okay, so here's what's going on. Okay, just to recap. So I talked about in the beginning of the year, my role in ministry has kind of flipped. So I have always worked between pastoral ministry and faith formation in some form or fashion. Those are my fortes. It's what I went to school for. I've always worked in child family services and in gerontology and aging related healthcare. So all of those things are my passions, and my ministries have always reflected both of those things. So this year, Faith Formation is pretty stable as far as we're up and running. We have a great foundation. Things are okay. Could they always be better? Of course, but we had a good solid team. So my focus shifted to being full time pastoral ministry and then doing faith formation, directing faith formation in a part time uh, capacity. So, yes, I'm still guiding the curriculum, I'm still doing the newsletters, I'm still present at faith formation classes, at the camps, the retreats, the family fun nights. I'm still doing all of that. What I'm not doing is the day to day answering phone calls and emails and stuff during the day. So that is all being handled by Dawn, our administrative assistant for the program. That brff@dor.org, that new email, we have been talking about that for a long time. And the reason is that that is the new faith formation email. All things faith formation need to go to that email. And here's why. Dawn then sorts those emails. Okay. If there's anything she can answer, she answers them. Most of the time, questions are about things that are already in the newsletter. So my recommendation is first check the newsletter, then email Dawn. Otherwise, she's going to tell you to check the newsletter because it might already be there. But things that aren't in the newsletter, things that are beyond what she knows, or things that are maybe she doesn't know exactly what the answer is, she then finds who can answer that the quickest. So maybe it's Nora, maybe it's Father Hart, maybe it's Father Timon, maybe it's myself. Whoever can answer that quickly gets that question. Anything that I am the only person that can answer is what she then will tell me, hey, there's an email, can you look at it? This is something that somebody, needs and I don't know what the answer is. Then it comes to me. All right. But this process enables us to narrow down the priority of the email. Otherwise, I get 500 emails a week, and that's just for faith formation, in addition to all my other ministry stuff going on. So, this is just a way to filter all of those questions and things that people maybe have, um, and try to get you a faster answer. Okay, so that's that. We are looking for more help with faith formation. We are looking for a way to change things up. I am still, involved with, all the different aspects of it, just not in the day to day, face to face stuff in the mornings. Um, so we are hoping to grow. We are hoping to gain other people that can come in and share their time and talent with us in whatever capacity. And with that new talent will come new directions for faith formation. So we're trying to figure out what direction those things need to go in. So we are going to be starting to survey families. I've noticed some big changes in family life this year. I've definitely noticed that faith formation is no longer priority in a lot of those cases. So we're kind of losing a little bit of traction there. which makes me a little nervous. So that means one of two things, that either the priority of sacraments or faith formation is not as important anymore, so we have to address why that is, or is it that the competition is so fierce? Can we change something to help families make that commitment easier? So it's always those, nobody's going around saying, that's it, we hate faith formation, we're not doing this anymore. I'm not talking about, like rebellion. It's just talking about where's the need at. Why are things changing? Why are people not able to fit this in? Okay, so maybe we need to change what night we're doing things, how we're doing things, where we're doing things. So that's what we're addressing now. We're going to be sending out a few surveys in February to try to say, hey, what do you think about this? What about this model? What about that model? I don't know if you know this or not, but we are one of the few programs that still has in-person learning every week, like this classroom learning. A lot of places have not been able to do that. They don't have enough volunteers and catechists. They don't have a structure. A lot of places are missing a faith formation director or in the process of trying to get another one. So there's all these different changes going on around us. And our program right now has been pretty stable. So we surveyed a little while back and said, how do you want faith formation to look? And overwhelmingly, people said, keep it as is, weekly classes or bi weekly classes. So the program as it stands now is absolutely what you all voted on before. Okay. If you're new to the program, and we do have a lot of new people, maybe those needs have changed. The world we live in has definitely changed. So my thought is, let's survey, let's see where everybody's at. And while we're looking for new team members and new talent to put on the team, can we address the needs of the program that you all have now to make this work and make this grow? Because that's, this teamwork that we have, parents and us, like that's what makes it thrive. That's what makes it grow. So that's that piece. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that helps everybody understand what's happening. People say, well, why are you doing all of this? Something I want you to think about, the church, we know that there's a shortage of priests, right? And we know that our priests that we do have are being worked well beyond retirement because they just don't have anybody filling in behind them. When priests can't do everything, that falls to the people that are behind them, which is the lay people who also hopefully are trained to do that. But there's fewer and fewer of us. So now, not only are they being stretched in a lot of different directions to where the highest need is by virtual, things going downhill, so to speak, we now are all in the same boat. So lay ministry people who, are trained to do all this work are also being pulled in a lot of different directions to serve the needs of the community. And just right now, the needs in my, from where I'm standing, working with people that are, in end of life care, that's an overwhelming need right now. COVID really did some damage to that population. It affected everybody, but definitely people in nursing homes and in nursing facilities have taken a lot of hits. So there's some healing needed there. There's a lot of work to be done. So if I can help be a part of that for right now, that's what I'm hoping to do. Doesn't mean I love faith formation any less. You just do what you're called to do and you try to do your best, right? And I just happen to have a passion for both. So right now I'm juggling both, trying to make it work. So it might look different, but it doesn't mean that it's, impossible. It just means we have to think about things differently. And as a church, we have to think about things differently. It's not the same church that our parents had. It's definitely not the same church that our grandparents had, but it's still us. We are the church. How do we want it to look? Can we think outside the box? Can we be creative? Zoom, even though it was like this horrible thing at first, I can't tell you how many families love that, so we've kept that, but then there's other things that like, that's not working so good. Let's get rid of that. The things that we can do to make things better, to serve the needs of our community, let's try it. Let's think together. Let's get creative. Now, yes, we still are a Catholic church, so there are still rules and guidelines, particularly the sacraments. So some of you are finding out that I'm very flexible on a lot of things. I'm not flexible with sacraments because I can't be. My job is to make sure that whatever the bishop establishes as sacramental guidelines are upheld. That's my job. I don't have the authority to change what he asks. So some of you might be thinking that I'm just being mean, and I'm not. There are very clear guidelines on sacraments that I don't have the authority to change, and it's not my place to do anything other than what we're asked to do. But what I can do is try to think creatively for how we can maybe get that done. How can we still get all the requirements in, but in a way that's family friendly? Um, that's the real task of what I have, that I'm looking at. Like, how can we make this work? So that's why the surveys. That's why trying to figure out how we can make that happen. Right? The church is never static. We are all working with the Holy Spirit, moving, hopefully, please God, forward. And that's what we're working on. So don't panic. Don't think that, the end is near for faith formation. That's not what any of this is. If anything, it's a sign that we are open to growth and open to change and open to figure out how to make the best of, not a bad situation, but just a strained situation where priests and lay people are kind of pulled in all these different directions. So the QR codes below. At the Family Faith and Fun or the family Christmas party, somebody asked me, "Wow, you know, how is all of this paid for? How do you, do all these parties and things like that?" And then it occurred to me that I've never talked about that aspect with any of you, and it comes down to stewardship. So when people tithe in their weekly collection, a portion of the collection goes toward faith formation. So your registration fees pay for the book and like any classroom supplies, paper, pens, the stuff that we go through in the classroom. That's it. That's really all that covers. Um, Beyond that, the parties, the community events, the food, the snacks, the this, the that, comes from the donations that are given. So a portion of the tithing that comes in for the church goes to faith formation to support the mission of the church, right? To teach our children all about the life of Christ so that they will grow up and do the same for their children. That's what supports it. Obviously, we have to look at the very real fact that people our generation and younger are not always present on the weekends. And some of us do tithe, but some of us tithe with money, some of us tithe with our talent, some of us do different things. All of that is good. But if you're feeling in your heart that you want to support the Faith Formation program and want to see more of those parties continue, the QR codes below help link you to your parishes to go into their electronic funds transfer and help you to donate to them. Just so you know, Faith Formation, all 4 parishes contribute to Faith Formation because we serve all 4 parishes. We have students from not only our 4, but even other places. So there's all kinds of people that come together, but we pool our resources for faith formation so that we build one really solid, awesome program instead of 4 week, really unsustainable programs, right? So that's what we do. But if you're from Lourdes or St. Anne's and you'd like to contribute to Lourdes and St. Anne's, you can go into that QR code. You can specify if you want the money to be just for faith formation, you can specify that. I know people have different feelings about donating to the church. That's why I don't like to talk about this because that's not my job. I'm not the finance person. But I think it is important for people to know I do have to talk about stewardship with the kids, and I talk to them about it in terms of appreciating that their faith community loves them so much that they contribute, and that contribution goes to our program. So the same for all of you is just so that you're aware of how that works. I know, we all have our different reasons for why we donate or don't donate, and that's okay. I'm not judging anybody for anything, but if you are in a space where you're able to donate or faith formation programs mean a lot to you and you'd like to help them to grow, you can specify that money to go toward that. And canon law says that if you donate money and you specify where the money goes, it has to go to that. It won't go anywhere else. It has to go for, if you say faith formation, it has to go to faith formation. If you say you want it for music ministry, it has to go to music ministry. You can specify what you want that money to go to. And then you'll get your tax forms at the end of the year, and you'll still be able to count that on your taxes as charitable donations and things of that nature. But I just didn't know how many of you were really truly interested in how all that works, but that's how it works. That's like the scaled down version of how that works. Um, but not just your money, right? Like, I am very happy to have anybody that wants to teach, that wants to be a teacher's assistant, that has a talent you'd like to share with the students. Maybe you can show a specific skill, or maybe you want to talk about how God has influenced your life. There's so many ways we can give back to the program that don't even have to be monetary. So that's something to think about too. If you would really like to donate your time, it's very valuable for sure. If you'd like to learn how to do any of the ministries that run the parish, if you want to be a communion minister, if you want to see what it means to do lecturing or running the Children's Liturgy of the Word, maybe you wish that there was more Children's Liturgy of the Word at your parish, talk to us, email us at BRFF, and we will go ahead and start the process and help you to learn how to do that. I have all the how-to for everything. If you're interested, let us know. Let's make this the church that we want. Let's make it look the way we want. We have the power to do that. And I think sometimes we just need to hear people say that. you know we're alive in Christ, we're growing in the Spirit. That's what we're called, because that's what we're hoping to do. So just something to think about, families. And again, those QR codes will be at the bottom of the newsletters each week. So if you feel the Spirit moving you to contribute either time or talent or treasure, please consider that, especially during this Lent. Um, and also your feedback. Your feedback was very valuable to me. So when we do the surveys, continue to let me know your honest opinion of things so that I can really respond to the need that you all have. Okay? All right, that's all for me. It's 18 minutes. That's pretty long, but thanks for sticking with me if you did through the whole thing. And take care. God bless. We will see you soon.